everyone, Olga Yaroshevsky here, and we continue the NexChange Interview Series. And my partner today is Brad Yasar, who is a world-known entrepreneur, investor, mentor, advisor, and speaker. Hi, Brad.
Hello, Olga. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
So, Brad, you are founder and CEO of Beyond Enterprises, which is focused on strategic advisory and investments in the blockchain and crypto space. And I know that you are also co-founder of the Blockchain Investors Consortium with over, let's say, $5 billion allocated to blockchain and cryptocurrency projects. Wow. Can you please tell us more about what do you do within those companies and ventures, and what are you focused on right now?
Sure. So Blockchain Investors Consortium, I'll start with that one, is a group of active investors in early stage companies. We got together to co-invest in deals and share due diligence and share deal flow. So as an investor, the biggest challenges you have is access to good deals, good projects to invest in, and then being able to vet those projects. Is the business plan good? Is the technology good? Can it be built? Is it real, or is it just a dream that someone had that's going to take a lot of time and money to become a reality? And just because it's a dream, it's not an immediate disqualification from investment, but the technical due diligence and business due diligence is very important. So in a nutshell, with BIC, I want to reiterate, when people say $5 billion, $6 billion under management, we are a decentralized organization. So one person doesn't manage all those funds. It's spread across 100 plus funds. And every individual fund makes their own investment decision. But what BIC provides them is a platform where they can share their best deals with other people, like-minded investors, and ask questions about due diligence or technical know-how that we're able to help out with.
So this is also a kind of a social network as well?
Yes. It's a very small social network for fund managers and investors and basically active investors. It could be individuals too, as long as they have a certain amount of investment and interest in the space. And we started it to support the blockchain community because there were a lot of deals going back and forth that were not ideal because the term sheets weren't similar. People were getting very different outcomes, and obviously if you're getting good outcomes from your investments, you keep doing it, and when you don't, you start questioning. And we just wanted to have a group voice that can address those questions and help newcomers. I mean, we have some very established funds in the group, and they don't have the blockchain experience and exposure we had, but they have venture capital investment exposure that's longer than I've been alive. So it kind of balances out really nice. They bring their best practices from where they've seen success, and we bring best practices in blockchain. And I want to believe we help good companies get connected with good investors. On the Beyond side, Beyond started as a strategic advisory company. And I'm not going to bore you with the 3-year journey we had, but we did more than 50 projects in the blockchain and have seen some pretty good success. And we evolved from a strategic advisory to a 360 full service partner. So now we do development, marketing, community management, legal, PR. I mean, you name it, whatever needs to be done for a project. We have the best partners in space if we don't have the internal teams, and we get plugged into projects and make sure they reach the next milestone and then the next milestone, all the way to go to market and growth.
Well, among other things, as far as I understand, Beyond Enterprises helps to develop and implement blockchain in a business model. What does that mean? Exactly. Is blockchain implemented in something that already exists to improve, let's say, like a company's work? Or is it something that a project is based on initially? And which model do you think works better?
It could be both ways. And so blockchain is like internet. Like we are using the internet right now to communicate. If I asked you, how does one piece of information travel from your device to mine, you probably would have no clue about it. And it's okay, because it's so simple. You turn it on, you go into your favorite app, and you're there. Um, I want blockchain to be same as the internet in the near future. I think we need to stop talking about blockchain as if it's something a focal point for a business, but start talking about the business itself instead, and let people figure out what the underlying technology is if they're curious enough. And if they don't care, they don't need to know which blockchains are used to create and bring a project to life. To answer your question, blockchain can be implemented into an existing business. Let's say, I don't know, an accounting firm wants to have better record keeping. I'm just using a theoretical example here. Instead of using the current record keeping technologies they have, which may be paper or digital, they can put that information on a blockchain. It could be any one of them that's up and running, working out there, and that way create transparency and immutability for their records. Whereas now we're relying on attestations and seals and signatures to make sure we have original documents, and all of those can be forged to a certain extent. So that would be taking blockchain and plugging it into an existing accounting firm, how they work. Or you could approach it the other way that you mentioned. You can take an idea. Let's say you and I want to create a new video conferencing app, but we want to make sure it's highly secure and no one can intercept our communication, because we're going to talk about highly sensitive stuff like blockchain. We could create a video conferencing app using EOS or one of the other blockchains, and then it would be ground up built on the blockchain. You see the difference? So one is existing business, we just inject blockchain technology to make things maybe better, cheaper, more efficient, more transparent. The second approach is we have an idea, we pick a blockchain, and we build the technology and the business on top of it. Both are valid approaches.
So both work just fine. But what do you think about big companies like huge international giants who try to, let's say, increase the revenue by just doing an ICO, let's say, or an STO, which is, I guess, more up to date right now?
Well, we work with some mid-size and a couple of big companies, as you define them. An ICO or STO is not interesting to them because, a mid-cap company has $1 billion revenue every year. A big company has billions and billions of dollars, maybe monthly, maybe quarterly. So these companies, the challenge is not funding. If they raised another $1 billion with an ICO, is it nice? Yes. Does it change their business model or make it better? No. I mean, they don't care at that point. If Apple raised, $10 billion with the Apple STO, it wouldn't move the needle for them. I mean, their new campus is costing more than that, and they're able to fund it. So for big companies, the approach we have in our partnership model is we create R&D labs with their internal funds, because they allocate anywhere from a couple million to tens of millions of dollars just in research and development to see how they can use this new technology, new approach, how they can decentralize maybe certain internal functions and make the company more profitable. Because once you're that big and you're public, you report to your shareholders, your stakeholders, and you're responsible to be more profitable, more efficient, more environmentally conscious, whatever your goals are. So you take blockchain and you look at your internal tool set and see how you can renovate those. And there's a lot of that going right now internally that they don't talk about. every single bank that's worth, a certain amount of, money has internal teams working on blockchain. They don't go public with it because they don't know which direction it's going to go, and it's too early, and it's a financial institution, it's public. But they do a lot of projects internally. And again, our model there is not to say, hey, let's do an STO for you, but our model is to say, hey, let's take your rewards, maybe miles, maybe spent rewards, and put it in
tokens,
model.
right?
Yeah.
So this sounds more like a tokenization, right?
Exactly, but that's an implementation of blockchain that works with their existing business model. So that's the approach they're having. And then the second one is, a lot of these big companies have really great innovation centers, but they don't want to take the risk of introducing a new project. So they're spinning off subsidiaries that are focused solely on blockchain. Like an international bank, I don't want to name anyone, specifically, but an international bank that's trying a new payment system, cross-border payment system, and they're doing it with blockchain. They just spin off another company, and that company is international blockchain payments provider or processor. And then, it's not affiliated with the main brand, but it's funded by that bank. And once it matures, or if it picks up and people are using it, then they reacquire it. I mean, they already own it, so it's not like a real acquisition, but they pull back the project into the main brand and main entity. So those are the few ways that they're looking into and experimenting with blockchain
and justifying tokenization.
Yes.
So I can't help but ask about the most interesting and promising ventures, blockchain-based projects that you've come across lately. What has fascinated you personally the most?
Well, that's not a fair question, because that's like asking which one of your kids you like the best. And I love them all. But if I wanted to highlight, there are 3 projects that are near and dear to my heart right now. One is called Poseidon, and it's a fractional ownership of carbon credits project. Now you're going to ask me, what does that even mean? What it means is, by using carbon credit markets and carbon offsets, Poseidon allows individual retail users to offset their carbon footprint and preserve mature rainforests. I think we should do more for our ecosystem and environment. And this project is very near and dear to my heart, because it really helps the indigenous populations in the rainforest. It really helps the rainforest, and it uses blockchain in innovative ways to connect something that existed for 50, 60 years. I mean, carbon credits have been around forever, and were never accessible by individual users like you and I. I mean, when we buy shoes, we don't know what the carbon footprint of that shoe was, from raw materials to manufacturing to shipping to sales. With this project, you're able to see that and pay a little extra for your purchase to offset your footprint.
And track it, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a very interesting and valuable use of blockchain technology. Another project in similar high impact purpose lines is called Hive. And that's a project that's building a platform for freelancers and microtasks and just job seekers globally, without the burden of paying heavy taxes, heavy fees on the platforms that exist now. I mean, we know Fiverr, we know Upwork, there are local versions of it in each market. And these platforms take 10 to 20, 30% of everyone's income. I mean, they just tax you to the nose. Then you have your PayPal fees if you use PayPal. Then you have your Visa, MasterCard fees if you use those rails. So at the end of the day, you work and earn $50 and you end up with 27. That's killing a lot of opportunities, killing a lot of productivity. So Hive is a platform where fees will never be more than 0.5% of what you do, of what you earn, and it's a DAO. It's a decentralized autonomous organization. So there's no need to hire and add a huge overhead to make it more expensive. And that's a project, again, that I truly believe, because there's so many unbanked people who can't even use those platforms. There are so many underbanked and underprivileged areas where 30% fees just puts them out of competition. If they're only trying to make $2 because that's what they need that day, and $1 of it goes away, it doesn't work. When you're making $1,000, yes, it's still not nice to give 300 to the platform, but still you have 700 to live on. When that number gets smaller, it's much difficult to justify those huge fees. So Hive is addressing those things, and I believe it's going to revolutionize how cross-border freelance work is done. And finally, I'm personally working on a project. I'm involved with the prior two for full disclosure, but the last one is, I always wanted to have a blockchain savings retirement account. Like, I wanted my grandma to be able to take her money from the traditional banks that are not giving her any interest and just using her money to make more money for themselves, and give her something without scaring her, without talking about crypto and crypto assets and Bitcoin and Ethereum and blockchain. No, I just wanted her to have an app on her phone, and every day she looks, and there's some more money in there because of the volatility. So we started building a platform last year to do automated trades and make money in a bear market, make money in a bull market, make money in a stagnant sideways market. And we're in the final stages of creating this tool that's going to allow everyone to invest in blockchain without knowing anything about blockchain. All you're going to know is, you're actually getting a return on your money, and you can use it anywhere in the world. You can get paid out in, any kind of currency you want, because I understand at the end of the day, direct spend of crypto is still 3-5 years away. It's not there, and people still want to buy food and buy clothing and pay rent. And so we're building a solution where an AI bot trades for you, and it trades in any market condition across dozens and dozens of exchanges. And at the end of the day, you just see your profits, because it only does profitable trades. It's a high frequency short-term trading strategy. So those are
I want that app.
Those are the 3 projects that I'm excited about, we've been working on, and I believe will have a positive impact on a lot of lives when they go live and are accessible by the public.
So I pretty much wanted to ask you about the most promising sectors and directions of investment, of blockchain and crypto investment, but I guess it pretty much sums up in what you just said: the socially important projects, right? Still,
let me just jump in on that one. I like that question. So the most promising projects may be different from my definition, but for me, high social impact, high positive social impact projects will always have a good return as an investor, because if you can positively impact 1 million lives, 10 million lives, 100 million lives, guess what? You are gonna make money. As an investor, as an entrepreneur, it's just, you need to change your priorities. You need to go from thinking about how am I gonna make money to how can I do something that helps people. And if you start with that mindset, again, my personal belief is that more so high positive social impact you have, more financially successful the project is going to be.
right, I totally agree. So I guess we're going to see more highly positive social impact use cases in the next couple years.
Hopefully.
Yes. Thank you so much, Brad. Thank you. And I wish you a good luck, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.